The ground trembles first. It is a language older than words, a deep, resonant pulse that travels through the bedrock and into the bones of the clan of the Red Ochre. In their shallow cave, carved from ancient stone, the vibration is a death knell. Below her, the matriarch, whose face is a map of 60 seasons of survival, places a palm flat against the cool stone, her eyes closed. She is not listening for a sound, but for an absence. The sudden, terrified silence of the forest that precedes the monster for 3 cycles of the moon. This has been the new rhythm of their prehistoric life. The great Tyrannosaurus Rex, a male larger than any they have seen in memory, has claimed their valley. It is not a hunter. A hunter kills to eat. This creature is a force of nature, an engine of annihilation. It kills for dominion. The clan's larder, a deep crevasse packed with smoked cycad pith and dried meat, is nearly empty. The vast herds of triceratops that once grazed the fern prairies have been shattered. There remains splintered bone and scraps of frill, littering the valley floor like grim, abandoned altars. The faster, more nimble galley mimics are gone, having fled the constant terror. For these early humans, survival has always been a tightrope walk over a chasm of extinction. No, the rope has been cut. The long shadow, they call it, its presence blots out the sun, starves the land, and empties the future. Kale, the clan's strongest hunter, sharpens a spear point. The tool is a marvel of their osteodontoceratic technology. A wicked shard of Allosaurus tooth lashed to a fire-hardened U-shaft with sinew. He works in the flickering light of the low fire, his knuckles white. The futility of the gesture is a bitter taste in his mouth. What is a tooth against a walking landslide? Yesterday, he and 2 others had tried to stalk a lone Struthiomimus, trekking it for hours, only to be sent scrambling for the high rocks by the T-Rex's passage. The beast hadn't even seen them. It simply was. Its existence erased their own. The long shadow, they call it. Its presence blots out the sun, starves the land, and empties the future. That night, the hunger is a living thing in the cave. A child whimpers. A thin, sharp sound that Alora quiets with a shriveled, tasteless root. The adults sit in silence, their faces hollowed by firelight and starvation. This is the true fear, the one that surpasses the thunderous footfalls and the bone-cracking roar. It is the fear of a slow, inexorable end, not in a flash of teeth, but in the gnawing emptiness of their own bellies. This is the emotional turning point where courage becomes irrelevant. Their skills, their knowledge of the land, their tight-knit community, it all means nothing. They are watching their entire world being unmade. Elora looks from face to face, seeing the despair that has begun to calcify in their hearts. The old ways are dead. The long shadow has killed them. To survive, they must do more than hunt. They must learn a new and terrible magic, a faith suitable for this prehistoric world ruled by monsters. She looks past the hunters, past the fire, to the cave opening, and up to the sky. Alora's gaze remains fixed on the sky. Her answer is not in the earth beneath them, which now belongs to the long shadow, but in the vast, unforgiving blue above. There, another tyrant reigns. It arrives not with a tremor, but with a blot that eclipses the sun, a living kite of leather and bone. The Quetzalcoatlus. Its wingspan is wider than 3 hunters lying end to end, and its head is a terrifying spear tipped with a long, needle-sharp beak. It nests on the highest pinnacle of the western mesa, a sheer cliff face that even the most sure-footed climber in the clan would never dare ascend. From this throne, it owns the air. It is the only power in the valley that does not bow to the Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is the genesis of Alora's desperate gambit, a strategy so audacious it borders on madness, a turning point in their hominid history. It is not worship that she proposes, but a form of manipulation so profound it must be cloaked in the sanctity of ritual. She gathers the clan not with a speech, but with a gesture. She points a single, bony finger toward the soaring giant. The clan understands. They will not pray to this god. They will study it, learn its rage, and aim it like a javelin. This is a new form of survival skill, born from utter desperation. The first offering is an act of supreme faith and altruism. 2 days of relentless, silent stalking yield their prize, a half-grown Tyrannosaurus, cornered in a box canyon and brought down by careless spear. It is the first real meat they have had in weeks, enough to quell the gnawing hunger for a precious few days. But Elora allows only a mouthful for each child. The rest of the carcass is for the sky Goliath. Kate and a nimble young woman named Lyra haul the heavy burden to the edge of the scree slope that marks the Quetzalcoatlus's domain. They leave it in the open, a stark invitation, before retreating into the tree line. Always pose. Then, a shadow falls. The great pterosaur descends in a terrifyingly silent glide, lands with an ungainly hop, and tears the carcass apart with stabs of its keratinous beak. Swallowing huge chunks of flesh, it has accepted the offering. The first test is a success. The second ritual is a test of nerve. Lyra, chosen for her speed, must now risk boss. She sprints from the trees, dashing 20 paces onto the forbidden ground before the Quetzalcoatlus has even finished its meal. The reaction is instantaneous. An ear-splitting shriek, a sound like rock grinding on rock, erupts from the creature. It lurches, its immense wings unfurling with a sound like cracking thunder. Lyra is already gone. A fleeting brown blur diving back into the safety of the gnarled junipers as Kale stands ready to sell his life to buy her a few more seconds. They have monitored its trigger radius. They have felt the seismic blast of its fury. They now have a measure of the weapon they hope to wield. They spend the next days gathering hollow bones, carving and splitting them, trying to mimic that horrifying screech, a sound to draw the Sky King's wrath on command. The aurochs horn Kale carries produces the closest approximation, a piercing shriek that sets every tooth in the clan on edge. It is their trigger. The pieces are in place. The altar is prepared, the offering understood, and the hymn of provocation perfected. The plan, born of desperation, unfolds with the terrifying precision of a falling rock. It begins with the scent of blood. Kale makes a shallow cut on his own arm, a smear of red that he wipes on the leaves of the low-lying ferns at the valley's edge. The wind is right. He needs no other signal. Here's the bait. The ground begins its familiar, deep drumming, and Kale's heart hammers in his chest. A frantic counter, rhythm to the approaching doom. He does not run. Not yet. He waits, a statue of muscle and fear, until the long shadow's head crests the tree line, its yellow eye, the size of a man's torso, fixing upon him. Then, he runs. It is a race that defies all logic, a fleeting spark of hominid life against an avalanche of predatory instinct. He does not run for the caves, but for the open scree at the base of the western mesa. The earth shudders with each footfall of the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Its roar is a physical force that tears at the air, pressing on Kale's back. He leaps over fallen logs, weaves through ancient cycads, his lungs burning, his entire being focused on the one safe point ahead, a narrow fissure between two massive boulders, the place they marked. He dives through it just as the T-Rex's jaw snaps shut where he was a second before. The sound a crack of thunder that splinters a nearby tree. Kale is safe. For now, the monster, enraged, shackles the boulders, sniffing, roaring its frustration. It is in the kill zone. This is the moment of foresight, the hinge upon which their future pivots. From a high ledge, hidden from both titans, Lara raises the aurochs horn to her lips. She blows. The sound that emerges is not a call, but an obscenity. It is the shriek of the sky Goliath, a perfect, soul-shaking mimicry of territorial violation. For a heartbeat, there is silence. Then, from the pinnacle, comes the answer. A shriek of pure fury that dwarfs their own. A shadow falls across the entire clearing. The Quetzalcoatlus descends not like a bird, but like a thrown spear. It aims for the T-Rex's head. Its long, Keratinous USB battering ram. The impact is staggering. The T-Rex roars in pain and surprise, shaking its massive head as the pterosaur lands heavily, its leathery wings beating the air into a storm of dust and debris. The crash is not a battle, it is a cataclysm. The T-Rex lurches, jaws agape, while the Sky Goliath, shockingly agile on the ground, sidesteps and stabs again and again. Its beak a pneumatic hammer against the thick hide of the dinosaur's flank. It is a flurry of stabs and snaps, a maelstrom of reptilian violence. Then, the T-Rex connects. Its jaws clamp down on one of the pterosaur's slender legs with a wet, cracking sound. But in its agony, the Quetzalcoatlus drives its beak deep into the Tyrannosaurus's underbelly, puncturing the softer flesh of its gastrolia. The T-Rex bellows, a sound of profound pain Nilara has never heard before, and releases its grip. The two wounded giants stare at each other, bleeding, their fury momentarily spent. The long shadow turns and limps away, its reign of terror broken, leaving a trail of dark blood. The Sky Goliath, its leg hanging at a useless angle, launches itself clumsily into the air and labors back to its high nest. The silence it leaves behind is a new creation. It is the silence of survival. In the quiet that follows, the clan of the Red Ochre emerges from the shadows. They are no longer merely prey. They have not killed the god beasts, but they have done something far more profound. They have rearranged the heavens, looking down at the blood-soaked earth. Elara understands that this act will echo far beyond this valley. A pivotal moment in the deep, slow saga of human evolution. They did not win with claw or tooth, but with a weapon the prehistoric world had never seen before. A coordinated strategy born from abstract thought. They observed a system, understood its levels of power, and told them. This brutal, desperate gambit was the first true act of engineering. The first time our ancestors looked upon the Titans not as forces of nature to be feared, but as equations to be solved. Every bridge we build, every strategy we deploy, every time we use intellect to defy a power greater than ourselves, we are speaking a language first learned here, in the shadow of monsters. Our entire civilization, then, is built not on a foundation of stone, but on the audacious memory of a handful of hominids who refuse to accept their place in the food chain. This is the sound the world makes when the hunted refuse to run. But in the quiet that followed the Titan's retreat, a new sound began to echo from the deeper forest. A rhythmic, intelligent clicking that was neither predator nor prey.